Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them to taught us the truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word and truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect, tabernacle of David, the Aqua that are listening and learning, being a pillar of rest, the 144,000, the elect, the hopeful elect, Salakia, of the 1/3. All right. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. We're going to start with Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. All right. Jump down to 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. All right. Dealing with this war. This is about the angels right here, who are not paper mache E.T. China dolls. Anyway, so yeah, they're being gathered, right? The armies of the world are being gathered, and eventually into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. So you got Skeletor. There he is. Full spectrum survival 3 hours ago. It's happening. They gave the green light to destroy the Medes. So let's look at this and see where it is. Skeletor.
The U.S. government has basically given the green light to Ukraine now to attack Russia deep inside Russian territory using American-made and NATO-supplied weapons. These weapons systems and types are now capable of reaching deep inside of the Russian territory, even those that can take out areas of Moscow, the capital, where Russian President Vladimir Putin travels to and from in daily governance. The U.S. says that while it does not encourage or enable Ukraine to use American weapons outside of its borders, this decision ultimately is up to the Ukrainian government. Now that's a massive step, because as soon as they started giving the weapons to Ukraine, they said, no, you can't use these to hit Russia. You can only use them to protect yourself. This shift away from that is going to be seen by Russia as an act of war, open and engaging war from the American government against the country of Russia. You see, if your neighbors were warring against you and one of them supplied the weapons to the other that shot and killed your wife, your husband, or your children, who would be to blame here? Would it be only the neighbor that pulled the trigger? Or would you, in an act of vengeance, go after both of them? That's what Russia is going to do, and they see America as not only complicit to this war, but also an active party to it. The country of Turkey, with Erdogan as its leadership, says they may begin to part ways with the European Union in another shifting of one-time allies that shows us that this world is being divided on wartime lines. Erdogan implied that the country will end its membership, with the president saying Saturday that Turkey is going to part ways with the Union. They've implied that the country is already considering ways to end this bid to join the 27-nation bloc. They say the EU is making efforts to sever the ties with Turkey, not the other way around. He told reporters before departing the 78th UN General Assembly in New York that Turkey will have to reevaluate the situation and part ways with the EU. He responded to a question about...
Don't throw out your campfire chart.
And that's prophecy. All right, Turkey. Turkey is the middleman. They're playing the middle, and they have to make a decision. They're going to go with the Medes. What it says in the
question about the recent report adopted by the Parliament, which stated that the accession process cannot resume under the current circumstances, and that they call on the EU to explore a parallel and a realistic framework for Turkey's relations. Turkey applied to join all the way back in 1999. We're talking about 24 years ago. The accession didn't start until 2005. Negotiations were frozen in 2018 because of a backslide of geopolitics. And the European Parliament says that Erdogan's statements, coming more than a week after Turkey's foreign minister reaffirmed the position and the resolve to join different blocs, that this is a move away from the USA, away from NATO, away from the European Union, and ultimately this will be a move toward China and toward Russia.
Now that's significant because it's Ezekiel the 37th chapter, Slack, the 38th chapter, right? when the alliances for World War III are being formed. Can't leave Turkey out of that, right? Gomer, I believe, if not to Gomer. Anyway.
In the United States of America, we just witnessed yesterday a possible assassination attempt. It took place after news outlets began reporting that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he was at an event, and an armed man who posed as a U.S. Marshal was arrested.
Now that's new to me. Huh? What happened? There was an assassination attempt on a potential president named Kennedy. Okay, so what's going on? Sound familiar? And I'm talking about Abraham. All right, why'd they take Abraham out? Right? Sic Semper Tyrannis, remember that?
It's the Wilshire Theater event, and this is going to show you that.
The what? Wilshire? What is the Wilson? Right? It's not Wilshire, but it's pretty close. Wilson? Was it? No, it wasn't the Wilson Theater. It was Ford's Theater, where they shot Lincoln. Slovakia.
Maybe there's either a curse that people just want to take out the Kennedys, or there's a operation happening right now that is doing just that. The UK Defense Ministry has said that Russia is amassing what they call significant stockpiles of missiles.
Of what? Okay, so these missiles play an integral part in the end of the world as we know it. So when you hear nuclear this and missile that, okay, and Iskander and Trident, all right, you know that those are terms that they didn't talk about things like that. They knew about them, but it wasn't, what do they call it? Viral or whatever. Okay. These terms, this is normal now.
And they're going to use these missiles against Ukraine and other...
And they're going to use these missiles every day. This is normal talking point.
...countries creating a air-launched cruise missile system strategy that they'll use against critical infrastructure this winter. They're warning right now that if you're in the region, European allies, Ukraine, the Defense Ministry is saying that you can expect missile attacks against your infrastructure, and these attacks will lead to long-term power outages, chaos in the rule of law, and maybe other events in your local area.
Those are very, very strong words. Okay? Is that talking about the U.S.? Did he say that about us, or who did he say that about? Let's back it up a little, because that's very important to whoever it happens to.
The UK Defense Ministry has said that Russia is amassing what they call significant stockpiles of missiles, and they're going to use these missiles against Ukraine and other countries, creating a air-launched cruise missile system strategy that they'll use against critical infrastructure this winter. They're warning right now that if you're in the region, European allies, Ukraine, the Defense Ministry is saying that you can expect missile attacks against your infrastructure, and
so basically the EU.
The attacks will lead to long-term power out.
Grass-fed.
Yeah, that's huge. If Germany takes a hit, what do we got? We got World War II all over again, which is World War III.
Long-term power outages, chaos in the rule of law, and maybe other events in your local area. Sources have indicated that Russia's military has used fewer and fewer of these missiles since April, while the Russian leaders emphasized a need to increase and an effort to increase the cruise missile production. In the fall of 2022, up until now, Russia launched a series of these strikes against energy facilities because they know that you can cause nationwide blackouts, and winter's the worst time to do it. They've primarily used air-launched cruise missiles, particularly the KH-101, also known for its NATO reporting name, the Kodiak. The UK Defense Ministry's intelligence update says that Russia uses these strategic bomber aircraft to release munitions deep inside of Russian territory. But this is winter we're talking about, a time when people already can't afford the gas to keep their home warm. They can't afford the clothes to keep themselves warm. and they can't afford the food as energy or fuel to keep their bodies going.
So we're going into a dark winter. We're going to stop it right there and call it the update for today. Good job, Skeletor. Very informative. Appreciate it. But back to what's going on. All right. And let's just ease our way out with, let's see, the normal way. Revelation. I mean, because if you're not staying abreast, how do you know how much time you have left until those missiles hit? All right. Got to speak in code. All right. Here's some code for you. Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. If you understood that this word woe means world war, well, there's World War II, and the one that is knocking at the door, World War III. With that, we hope that the elector edified you, brothers and sisters. With that, I'm going to say shalom.